they deflask everything, and they end up with the denture with the teeth bonded to it. That's how it actually goes down. Right? So something here, Dr. Fire, in case of a complete denture, you see where the teeth remains in the middle part. Right. So this was a complete denture that was being done. We started off in something similar to this, but all the teeth were set in wax, not just one or two. Okay? And we poured this lower section, scooped out and left the undercuts right around, and we poured the upper cast and put the two together like that. So this right? And we left them, and then we boiled it. And right. So that's a base plate there. Right, this was actually a wax base plate. Yeah. Right, this is a wax base plate, but let's assume that this was the acrylic base plate, right? And that was a full yeah. Let's just say this is the acrylic base plate. What would have happened is that the acrylic base plate would remain and the wax would be boiled off. So when you separate it, you'd find the acrylic base plate still here, right? And you'd have to get rid of that. But look, and you could pass this around. Hold it in your hand. Just don't drop it, please. And pass it around and look, and you'll see the teeth still left in the exact position on the upper. Teeth ain't going nowhere. Now they held us to where we want them to be. What's your question? This would have been in this This would have been in this part of the lower dentures. With that, they're done in separate flasking unit like this.
Is where everything happens.
Is where everything happens for one denture. Upper and lower dentures aren't done simultaneously in this. This flasking unit does only the lower. And the other flasking unit does only an upper. You don't process both your upper and lower dentures in the same unit.
Okay.
The entire denture is a unit by itself. So that the upper and lower members here represent one unit for flasking a single denture.
Okay.
You understand that now?
Yeah.
That changes the confusion.
Getting confused upper and lower.
Right. Let's go on to the second pour of the mold. Alright, the first pour is there. And it's painted with the separated medium. Painted with the separated medium. We have removed all possible undercuts so that this second part of the mold doesn't lock and rip apart the lower part, yeah? Alright, which was just explained to you by Dr. Parag there on the board. Alright, so we then hold it, we turn the vibration on. Like there's space between this glass, so you may have some leakage going on. Filling of the flask itself, right? And onto that, the cover of that unit needs to be placed. Now you have a two-pour technique. You will read some text will show you the two-pour techniques where you go right up to the surface and close off the flask. And there are others who will tell you about a three-pour technique, which this is the second pour. The purpose of that technique is to expose where the teeth is. See what I'm doing there? Right, so that I know where the teeth is, so that when we open this mold, I'm not going to damage the teeth or cut into the teeth, because the opening of this flask has to be done with a saw, where we saw the molds off and then crack them off. So in this technique now, we could actually see where the teeth is, and it saves us cutting into the dental teeth, right? So you will see two-pour techniques and you'll see three-pour techniques, and this is the advantage of having a three-pour technique. Yeah? So we wait till the stone set, we cold mold seal it, and then we pour and close off the flask. After, I'm going to hand over to you to Dr. Parag while this is set. Right, so that will go ahead and he will allow that to get a set there, and then we'll add the last layer, right? And they will take that at first boil. Yeah, a unit that has, when you go into the back, you'll have to see in the lab, the classroom that you guys are pouring in on the left-hand side. There's a unit there that's always hot and filled with water, and you can see these casks sitting in it, right? commercially, that's why you can actually boil a series of casts on heavy. Water is very, very hot. Right? Wax is boiled out, they fish out the cast, the flask smell, they open it up, they check to see what's going on. When they separate it, they end up, yeah, when they separate it, they end up, as I say, with this on one side, right, and that on the other side, sitting in one of these, let's just say, sitting like that in the unit, I just say, right? So that is there, and this is there, and then what do? They get rid of the wax has already been boiled out and lost. They actually just take off the base plate, mix up acrylic, this is held firmly in position, place the acrylic on top of that, put that back into position, and compress everything together, right? And having done that, they lock it, and they put it again into the, well, to boil out basically. It's processing under heat and pressure at that point in time. Right? They boil it under heat and pressure for an 8-hour period. And the acrylic sets as a result, and it binds to the teeth, to the base of the teeth, or if you've created little, when I mount teeth, I actually drill a little hole into the base of each of the teeth and creates an undercut, yeah, and then to the base of the teeth inside it. So that the acrylic, when I compress the acrylic, it physically locks in addition to the chemical bond, right? And physically locks into position. So a patient can come and tell me, Dr. teeth fall off the denture. I say, well, I'm watching the denture, I'm going, ah, and that was that. Just jump away. I hand them back the denture and I say, break off another tooth. Because if one fall, the rest will fall out too, right? The rest will just get frightened, same way as a both denture. But you can't actually just break off the teeth. When they hold it in their hands and they physically try to break it, it can't break. So I tell them, I say, I know at that stage you've had something to eat that was hard. And it put force onto the denture and fractured the bond. And over time, it didn't actually debond and come out at that point in time. No. Afterwards, they were having sticky food and kept binding onto the teeth and keep putting the teeth apart and moving back on. So there's a certain amount of wear taking on the place of that interface between the tooth and the denture. And as that process continues until it finally becomes loose enough, you see, one day eating bread or roti and the teeth falls off. And you say, well, eating bread and the teeth fall off, yeah, but wait before you eat nuts here. And I tell you when I give you your denture, you're eating nuts. You have a big document here telling you, no nuts, no chana, no kurma, no bones, no ice. Go back to your fingernails if it can help. Nothing hard with the denture. And having failed to do what you're supposed to do, you've now fractured the teeth and that kind of thing. And since you've done that, I will repair it for you, either by the lab or chairside, right? And you show them how to do the repair, and I'll charge you. If it is in office that I do that, I will charge you $200 because that's my time. I sure the lab will probably do it for cheaper, but I'm still charging you that price. You will do it. But every time you had a pay to fix up your dad broken, you don't want to do that. So you stop eating the hard stuff eventually. Right? If it is that a tooth started going shaky on the patient because they were using a denture and they had a situation where they had periodontal problems, and we knew that they would probably lose more teeth and they end up having an extraction or they're going to have an extraction, I would have the acrylic denture in the mouth, take the pressure, send it up to the lab and tell them, patient is going to lose this tooth, we need to have it extracted, please add it to the denture. And they would do the same process and add it to the denture. And when they come back to me, it can't fit because the tooth is still in the mouth. And I'm the patient of pull the tooth off and I put the denture into position. And they walk out with their denture and put occupying the space of the one I'm now extracted. You actually do that for immediate denture as well. Right? Good. So, what's on that? Right. And one that's consistent here. These are like pure acrylic denture. Right? I use these for immediate dentures for patients. They tell you that this shouldn't be kept for more than 3 months. I've actually had a case where it's been with the patient for a year. And she's functioned very, very well with it, and it has not degenerated. I'm going to write that up. Right? This is heat pure acrylic. Light pure acrylic, heat pure acrylic. This one is done in the light curing machine and so on. It's not as densely packed as this. The properties of the material are a little bit weaker. Right? This has a greater tendency of breaking down. This is why we're going to use it for a temporary type situation. Okay? It's not really meant to be used for extended periods, but our patient has used it for a year and it survived. So that's a little bit the write-up. This is the Cobalt Pro, based on the design that you did with the RPI, right? And then this one has a bounded saddle with an I bar and a C class, right? having gotten these dentures back from the lab, they will usually come to you in a little bag wrapped in a damp napkin, right? Because if it is right, and you have it labeled on the patient name and that, can you check it? It says Dr. Ahmed Farag and the patient is Phantom Head, right? So I know it's the right patient and the right doctor. Okay? So I have the right dentures. I ain't gonna open the bag if it's the wrong labeling, then it's not the right, I send it back. Right? I look at the configuration and look back at the prescription to make sure it's exactly what I had. Now, given that the frame would have been checked when we got it back, remember we checked the frame before we did the jaw radiation, I would know that's the correct thing. In this particular case, I wasn't checking, I just had the base with the rims, right? And I did the jaw radiation and so on. And I asked them to say, set teeth, they set teeth, I tried that in, it was working fine. So now I should really be having back the correct thing at the end of the day. Good. So let's work firstly in the situation where we have the acrylic denture, right? You take the denture and you look at the denture throughout. You're looking for sharp edges that might damage the patient. You're looking to see that this is clear through and through. It shouldn't have a cloudy appearance, and this does have a bit of a cloudy appearance, right? Shouldn't have a cloudy appearance, it should be clear. If it's cloudy or white out, you know that there's a problem in the processing and you should not be delivering that denture. Alright? If it's clear acrylic, they use it. If they use a pink version to the acrylic, you won't be